Hey y'all, this is a kind of impromptu video during my walk. I just finished watching the show on Apple TV with Jon Hamm called Friends and Neighbors. And I watched it because it was on Apple TV, and I have liked the message and the attempts of storytelling at Apple. And it kind of, even though the inner monologue of the main Jon Hamm's character is problematic and shows that he doesn't really have any morals or strength of character, I continued to watch it because I thought, well, it's Apple, so there's going to be a twist and he's going to get some morals and some type of character, right? He has no character. But I was wrong. I kept watching it and it never redeemed itself. And in fact, the last episode really bothered me. So this dude gets divorced because he, was working 120 hours a week or whatever and not paying attention, just acquiring all this shit. And, they set him up. They already tell us very early on he doesn't have any morals because his job is in hedge funds. So we already know that he made a conscious choice to go into finance and not just into finance, but into hedge funds. So we know he's very okay with stealing from people and doesn't really have a moral compass and puts himself and his needs before the needs of society. So, but again, I thought, well, it's Apple, so they're gonna recognize that. Well, he gets fired from his hedge fund job after his divorce and all this stuff, and he feels like it's been unjust. All he did was sleep with this woman like 20 or 30 years younger than him. And so he starts stealing from his neighbors. He realizes all his neighbors are real rich and don't have any morals. So there's nothing wrong with him stealing from them. And remember, his job has already been to steal from them. So that's what he does. He steals, and he's not very good at it. And he's good at the stealing part. He's not good at the business part of it. But even though he stole from rich people, and we learned from Bernie Madoff that yes, rich people don't go to prison, except unless they steal from rich people. There's another character, this woman character, Samantha. She's gotten divorced too, and but see, she was from a poor family, and she was not exactly white. They didn't really establish. Well, I don't remember them establishing what her not whiteness is, but not from money, and she had married the restaurant manager, and he left her for a younger woman. So she starts sleeping with this other Jon Hamm's character, and her husband winds up dead. Now, he committed suicide, it turns out in the last episode. But after he committed suicide, she tried to commit insurance fraud by shooting him more times to make it look like a murder. And then Jon Hamm unknowingly walks into this situation and spreads his blood around or whatever, gets the blood on him. Anyway, he gets away with all that. She gets away with all of that. And all I can think about is my friend and former student who was white and worked real hard, but ultimately increased her situation through marriage, or improved her situation through marriage. And then when it turned out to be a very abusive relationship, and then when she defended herself, she didn't walk away, Scott. She's my form. Like, she spent many years in prison, because that's what happens. Especially if the person or the character that has killed that rich person, or is in any way in the perimeter of that dead rich person, that person's going to jail. That person's going to prison. That's the way this world works. If John Hamm stole from rich people, his ass is going to jail. That former poor woman who then goes around stealing these rich women's husbands, potential dating partners, then goes and breaks those social contracts, she's going to prison. That's the way it works. Apple got it wrong. Y'all got it wrong. And I'm sorry, my former student exists. She exists. There are women in prison all over the United States that has done less than what that Samantha character and Friends and Neighbors did, and they are in prison. And they're in prison because they were poor at one point in their lives. And that is the way the world works.